First of all, it's a pleasure to have you both in here. I have specifically a question about mortgage happening that I'm a mortgage broker back in the United States, and I've been trying for the past 6 or 7 months working with Mr. Isa on securing mortgages for our community that live abroad, specifically in the United States and the Arab areas. I know I'm going to leave an answer for you, Isa, because we visited this, and there is something mentioned on the books or on the laws that you have to be an ID holder, Hawiyya, in order to get a loan. Maybe that's something you guys need to work on and help us with, so you can encourage all those people coming. Even though the Palestinians in Palestine have a high saving rates, the one live abroad, they live the American way or they live the American dream. They don't have much of a saving. They have a good credit, and maybe that's something you can touch on. That's one thing. The other thing, that's a question for you, but the other thing is what kind of programs that we can develop as a Palestinian Jaliyat living abroad in helping building the economy. And that's the question specifically for the monetary authority. How can we build a program with the Palestine Network? And I'm sure you're all aware of the nature of Palestine Network. We're trying to stay away from politics. We concentrate on programs. So we need to develop a program. Maybe we can establish a subcommittee from the network and from the monetary fund or from some private sectors to start developing such a programs.
Well, I have an idea for you. I'm willing to arrange for an internship for any Palestinian or expat economist out there who have the time, short period of time or longer period of time, is to come in their areas of expertise and then share their knowledge and experience with our staff and exchange ideas and so on. So this may be something that we can network through you, is to whether short term, long term, proprietic, maybe to identify those economists out there that see, especially on the monetary side, there's not many Palestinians who are involved in the monetary. Most of our economists are agriculture economists, development economists, standard economists, but there is nobody, there are very few who are on the monetary side. So that's why we're sponsoring this PhD program. And this applies to expats as well as Palestinians who graduate from local schools. So this scholarship program is open to any graduates in statistics, in math, in economics, who get an acceptance for a PhD program in the area of monetary policy, would be willing to sponsor them.
I guess the question is very pertinent, basically to develop a mechanism whereby we can cooperate beyond the session. The suggestion that you mentioned is fantastic, but probably we can somehow arrange during this session, at least agree on an idea for one or two of us to volunteer, to cooperate with your department to further the investment project. Okay, I think Jamal. May I suggest that no interjections are accepted in this session?
Thank you for coming. I think I don't know if you spoke about this, but I didn't hear you mention whether the monetary sector has something equivalent to the FDIC in the U.S. So for people from the outside, let's say if they wanted to invest or put their money in Palestinian banks, how secure it is? Is it $100,000 insured, or now in the FDIC after the crash, it went up to $250,000? And I'll make another quick question to the real estate, Dr. Isa, is it? Isa Assis. Also now, because interest rates in the United States have been very low, we saw a trend in, for investors to put their money in second deeds of trust, mortgages, and so forth. Have you thought about doing something like this for people living in diaspora if they wanted to partner in with the banks and invest in the developments? Thank you.
Okay. Well, I mean, the trend now is for countries or for governments to fully guarantee their banking system. This happened in Jordan and Arab Gulf countries and so on. We didn't give an explicit guarantee simply because the confidence of the Palestinian depositor in the banking system is very high. Because when there were instances when, for example, during the siege and during the reoccupation in 2002, where Israeli tanks rolled in and then broke into banks and took money from people they don't like, they took their bank accounts and they took the money out. And what we did is we compensated all these people to the penny in terms of whatever, even though the Israelis took it, but the Ministry of Finance came in and then covered all the cash that was taken away. But we are working on a national scheme, a deposit guarantee scheme, and we have experts working on it. It should be launched probably in 2011. We're working on a legal framework, and we have a World Bank project and a Central Bank of Morocco expert who's helping us to develop this deposit guarantee scheme. But we have 1 weak bank that is left in the system, which being now worked out. And one of the key things for deposit guarantee scheme is that the banks have to contribute to that scheme. And if there is 1 weak bank, then they all know that if we give them money, then this is going to go to bail out this bank. And so we're waiting, hopefully next month, this weak bank issue will be resolved, and then we'll have a clear way to developing this scheme.
The investment in real estate in Palestine is not aggressive, really. People are not investing much in this sector, unfortunately. Why? Because maybe the demand is not high yet. But I heard of one of the major investment companies in Palestine called Perico. They are establishing a fund of like $100 million to be investing in real estate. But allow me to say that the simple concept that you mentioned, we see it here as kind of sophisticated, because people, what they are aiming at now is just to buy a property and live in it. Accordingly, there is a huge room for investing in real estate, because the cost of land in the outside of the cities is really cheap. The trend is now going for affordable housing, like $800 for a square meter for an apartment, and like $1,000 plus for an independent house. But you can easily buy an apartment like 15 kilometers north of Ramallah for 150 square meters for like $85 to $90 or $100,000 max. Which, if you get it on a mortgage for 25 years, it will cost you like $700 a month, meaning that if a $2,000 household income can afford it. About investment funds, I cannot answer this because it's not available. But I think Jihad maybe has something to add on this point.
One of the key things that we're trying to develop is the capital market and the various instruments in the capital market. Till now, for example, the pension fund, which is a major investor, still hasn't developed yet to invest. Then mutual funds, they still don't exist in Palestine. And so we're trying to work out in developing a mutual fund industry. Financial advisory services doesn't exist. And so one of the ideas I suggested to the banks is to get into the financial advice sector and then try to, because financial literacy is very weak, which is essential also to get the people to understand all these instruments and invest in them. We don't have a bond market yet, which is something that we have to do. We're starting at the end of this year with the central bank CDs. It'll be the first time we're going to generate an interbanking market. But we need the government to issue bonds so that the mortgage sector can develop instruments based on these long-term bonds, and then so it's a whole structure that needs to develop, which is still work in progress, and it's in the very early stages.